The forest was quiet that night, only the sound of wind in the tall pines and the crunch of dry leaves under heavy boots. A man walked alone with his dog. The dog's name was Rex, a large, strong animal with sharp ears and loyal eyes. The man liked the silence of the forest. He had no family left, only the dog and the cabin where he lived, but on this night something was different. Rex suddenly stopped. His ears went up, his body tense, tail stiff. He gave a low growl, deep and warning. The man frowned, looking into the dark trees. "What is it, boy?" he whispered. Then he heard it too. A strange sound. It was soft, almost like children crying, but not normal crying. It had an echo like metal mixed with sorrow. The man's heart beat faster. Who could be out here at this hour in the middle of nowhere? Rex pulled at the leash, leading the way. The man followed carefully, shotgun ready on his shoulder. Sound grew louder. Then through the trees he saw it. A glow. It was pale blue, shining from the ground as if the earth itself had cracked open. Smoke rose into the night sky. The man's breath caught in his throat. He stepped closer, heart pounding. The dog barked once, sharp and nervous. There, half buried in the dirt, was something he had never seen before. A broken shape of metal and glass. It looked like no plane, no car, no machine he knew. Wires sparked, panels hissed, and from inside came the crying sound again. The man slowly moved closer. "Hello?" he called softly. "Is anyone there?" For a moment there was only silence, then movement. Two small figures crawled out from the wreck. They were not human. Their skin was pale, almost glowing under the moonlight. Their eyes were large and dark, filled with fear. They looked like children, but not from this world. Rex growled, but the man held his collar. He knelt down slowly, trying not to scare them. "It's okay," he said gently. "I won't hurt you." The children whispered in a strange language. Then one of them spoke in broken English, trembling. "Mother left us behind." The man felt a cold chill run down his spine. He looked at them, thin, shaking, lost. They were alone, scared, and they were not lying. He whispered back, "Where is she?" The child shook their head. "She go, she run, she say, hunters come, she leave us, as bait." The man did not understand everything, but the words hunters and bait made his stomach twist. He knew one thing: these children were in danger. Suddenly Rex barked again, louder, sharper. His fur stood up. The man looked around quickly. Between the trees, far away, he saw another glow. Not soft like the wreck, but harsh, moving beams of red light sweeping across the forest. Something was searching. The alien children clung to the man's arm, whispering fast, "They come! They come!" The man's mind raced. He could turn away, leave them, pretend he saw nothing. But as he looked into their wide, terrified eyes, he knew he could not. He was all they had. "Come with me," he said firmly. He lifted the smaller one into his arms. Rex barked again, pulling toward home. Together they hurried through the trees, away from the wreck, away from the lights. The forest grew darker, but the man knew the paths well. His cabin was not far. He pushed open the door and hurried them inside. Rex stayed at the window, watching, ears twitching at every sound. The children sat close together on the floor, whispering. Their eyes darted around, afraid of every shadow. The man tried to calm them. He brought them water, old blankets, even some bread. They ate carefully, as if food was new to them. For a short moment the cabin was quiet again. But the man's heart would not rest. He kept hearing their words in his head. "Mother left us. Hunters come. Bait." Then Rex growled low, not the soft growl of warning. This one was sharp, urgent. The man moved to the window. His blood turned cold. Outside, red lights scanned the trees. Shapes moved between the trunks, tall, metallic. walking without sound. Machines, but hunting like wolves. One of them turned. A beam of light swept across the cabin wall. The man pulled the children close, whispering, "Stay quiet. Stay still." The cabin filled with tension. The dog's growl rumbled like thunder in the silence. The children trembled under the blanket. The man held his shotgun tight, eyes locked on the door. And then, a heavy thud shook the ground outside. The hunters had found them. The cabin wall shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. Rex barked furiously, his deep growl echoing through the small room. The man held the shotgun tight, sweat running down his face. He whispered, "Quiet, boy." But Rex's body stayed tense, ready to fight. Through the window, the man saw them, shapes moving in the night. They were tall, thin, and metal. Their arms were long, ending in sharp claws. Their heads glowed with a single red eye that scanned side to side. They moved without sound, only a faint hum in the air, like machines breathing. The alien children pressed close to the wall, trembling. One of them whispered, "Hunters." The word cut deep into the man's mind. He had heard stories of strange things in the world, but never seen them with his own eyes. Yet here they were, walking nightmares, searching. The man thought fast. He could not fight them here. The cabin was small. If they broke in, there would be no escape. He looked at the children. Their wide black eyes shone with fear. They needed him. He took a deep breath and whispered, "We leave. Now." Rex barked once as if he agreed. The man pulled the blankets over the window to hide the light. He motioned for the children to follow. They moved quietly, stepping over the old wooden floor that creaked under their weight. The man opened the back door slowly, praying it would not groan too loud. Cold night air rushed in. The forest stretched before them, dark and endless. The man led the way, shotgun in one hand, the smallest child in the other. Rex padded silently. Beside him, muscles tight behind them, the cabin creaked. Then came the sound of metal claws scratching against wood. The hunters had reached the door. The group hurried into the trees. Branches whipped against their faces, but the man did not stop. He knew secret trails, paths that twisted like veins through the forest. Maybe they could lose the hunters. Maybe. But the hunters were fast. Red beams of light cut through the darkness, scanning the trees. Each time the light passed near, the children whimpered. Rex pressed close, warning them when to duck low. At last, they reached a dry creek bed. The man motioned for them to lie down. They pressed themselves into the dirt, cold stones under their skin. The man held Rex by the collar to keep him silent. Then the hunters came. 3 of them. Tall, glowing, moving like shadows given steel bodies. Their red eyes swept the creek. The man's heart hammered so loud he thought they would hear it. One hunter paused. Its red beam stopped just above their heads. The children clutched the man's arm, their tiny fingers shaking. Rex's growl vibrated in his chest, but he stayed still under the man's grip. Seconds stretched like hours. Finally, the hunter moved on. The 3 shapes vanished into the trees. Silence returned. The man let out a shaky breath, but the children did not relax. One whispered, "They always come back. They never stop." The man turned to them. "Why are they after you? Why did your mother leave you?" The older child lowered their head. Their voice was small. "She was leader of rebels. She fought them. She said if we stay behind, they chase us, not her. We are bait." The man stared at them, stunned. Their mother left them on purpose to escape. Rage burned inside him. How could a mother leave her own children to these monsters? Yet he saw the pain in their eyes. They still loved her even after being abandoned. He put a hand on the child's shoulder. "Not anymore. You're not bait anymore. You're with me." The child looked at him with wide eyes, unsure if they could believe. Before he could say more, a sound filled the forest, a high-pitched whine growing louder. The man looked up. His stomach turned cold. Drones. Small, fast machines hovered above the trees, red lights flashing as they scanned the ground. They moved like insects, covering every shadow. "Move," the man whispered. He picked up the smallest child again, and they ran. The forest became a blur of dark shapes and flashing beams. Every step felt heavier, every breath louder. Rex ran ahead, barking once when danger was near. The man followed his lead, diving under fallen logs, splashing through shallow streams, climbing rocky slopes. The children tried to keep up, their small legs shaking with exhaustion, but the drones were clever. One suddenly dipped low, its red eye landing on the group. A piercing alarm shrieked into the night. The forest lit up in crimson light. "They found us!" the older child screamed. The man turned, firing his shotgun. The blast echoed like thunder. The drone exploded in sparks falling into the dirt, but the sound was too loud, too much. From far away, the hunters answered. Their heavy footsteps shook the ground. They were coming fast. The man pushed forward with everything he had. "Run!" he shouted. The children stumbled, but he pulled them on. Rex barked wildly, his body glowing red under the search beams, and then, through the trees ahead, the man saw something. A hill. And built into the hill, covered in vines and stone, was a steel door. Old. Rusted. A memory struck him. His father had told him of an old war bunker hidden in these woods, a place no one went anymore. Hope flickered in his chest. If they could reach it, maybe they could hide. Maybe they could fight. He grabbed the door handle, pulled with all his strength. Metal groaned. The door opened. The group stumbled inside, just as the forest behind them filled with red lights. The hunters had arrived at the bunker. The steel door slammed shut behind them. Darkness swallowed the space inside. Only the sound of heavy breathing filled the air. The man leaned against the wall, chest rising and falling, shotgun still clutched in his hands. Rex's growls echoed, in the bunker, deep and restless. The children clung to each other, their pale skin glowing faintly in the dark. Their large eyes darted around, afraid of every shadow. The man pulled out a small flashlight from his pack. Its weak beam cut through, the black showing cracked concrete walls and rusted pipes above. Dust floated in the air, untouched for years. The bunker smelled of damp stone and old metal. "Stay close," he whispered. His voice was low but steady. They moved deeper inside. The bunker stretched like a tunnel under the hill, with side, rooms filled with broken chairs, smashed equipment, and rotten crates. The man had heard stories from his father about this place, a leftover from a war long before his time, a place forgotten. For a moment he thought they were safe. But then came the sound, a dull thud, then another. Outside the door, heavy footsteps. The hunters had not given up. The man switched off the flashlight. Silence fell. The children's breathing grew fast, panicked. One whispered, "They always find us." The man crouched down, looking into their frightened eyes. "Listen to me, not this time. We'll keep moving." He led them through the dark halls until they reached a back exit, a rusted hatch half buried, in rubble. He pushed hard. The hatch screeched but gave way, and cold air rushed in. Stars sparkled above, the forest stretching once more. "Go," he urged, helping the children climb out. Rex jumped up first, ears sharp, scanning the night. They ran again back into the wilderness. The forest was alive with danger. Red beams from drones flashed between trees. The hunters' heavy steps crushed leaves and branches. Every sound felt closer, louder. The man led them through narrow paths known only to hunters and trappers. He slid down slopes, crossed icy streams, and climbed rocks slick with moss. The children stumbled often, but he pulled them up, refusing to let them fall behind. Rex never slowed, guiding them forward like a shadow. At last they reached a small cave hidden behind a waterfall. The roar of water masked their breathing. They crawled inside, cold and wet, but hidden. For a moment, there was peace. The hunters, lights passed outside but did not find them. The children curled together on the stone floor, shivering. The man set down his shotgun and rubbed his tired eyes. He had lived many years alone, but never felt a burden like this. 2 small lives now depended on him. He could walk away, but he knew he wouldn't. One of the children spoke suddenly, their voice quiet, broken. "We. Not safe. They never stop. Mother. She say we slow her down. She go." The words sank heavy into the man's chest. He looked at them, tiny, shaking, abandoned. "She left you behind?" he asked. The older child nodded. "She fight against them. She strong. But she say, we make her weak. So she run." The man clenched his fists. His own mother had died protecting him long ago. The idea of leaving a child behind. It burned, inside him like fire. He placed a hand on the child's shoulder. "She left, but I won't. Understand? You're not alone anymore." For the first time, the child's dark eyes softened. A small spark of hope flickered there, but peace never lasted long. Rex's ears shot up. He gave a sharp bark, then growled, teeth bared. The man grabbed his shotgun. He crawled to the cave entrance, peering through the waterfall. A drone hovered. Outside, its red eye glowing through the mist. The man swore under his breath. The drone tilted, scanning. Then it spotted them. The red beam hit the cave wall. An alarm blared. The man fired. The blast roared through the cave, shattering the drone into pieces. But the noise echoed through the forest like thunder. From far away, metallic footsteps answered. "They're coming," the man hissed. "We move now." They scrambled out of the cave. The forest exploded with red light as drones swarmed. The children screamed, covering their heads. Rex barked, snapping at the machines. The man fired again, blasting one drone, then another, but there were too many. The air filled with the smell of smoke and burning wires. Then, a beam of light struck the ground just inches from them. The hunters were here. 3 of them stepped through the trees, towering metal bodies glowing red in the night. Their claws clicked as they moved, slow and steady like predators closing in on prey. The children froze. Tears filled their eyes. One whispered, "We can't escape. They always find us." The man stood in front of them, shotgun raised, Rex by his side. His voice was steady, sharp. "You listen to me," he said. "You're not bait. You're not alone. They'll have to go through me first." The hunters spread out, red eyes, glowing brighter, surrounding them. The forest grew silent. And then, from behind the hunters, a new sound filled the air. A deep rumble, like thunder beneath the earth. The ground shook, trees trembled. The man frowned. "What now?" The hunters stopped moving, their heads tilted, scanning. The rumble grew louder, closer. Something else was coming. The ground rumbled like a giant was waking beneath the earth. The hunters froze in place, their red eyes flickering as if uncertain. Even machines could sense danger. The man pulled the yaw. Children behind a fallen log. Rex crouched low, ears flat, a growl rumbling deep in his chest. The night was alive with tension. Then the sound faded. The earth stilled. The forest grew quiet again. But the hunters did not move away. Slowly, they turned their heads, their glowing eyes sweeping the trees. "They wait." The older child whispered. "They call more." The man knew they could not fight out here in the open. His mind raced, searching for options. Then he remembered the steel door they had passed earlier. The bunker, a place forgotten by time. Maybe it could be their shield. "Follow me," he whispered. They slipped away through the dark, moving low, hearts hammering. The hunters scanned the forest behind them, too focused on the strange rumble to notice. The man led them back toward the hill. At last, the vines and moss-covered steel door appeared again. He heaved it open with all his strength. The rusty hinges screamed, but it gave way. They hurried inside, shutting the heavy door behind them. For a moment, the outside world vanished. The bunker air was cold and heavy. Their footsteps echoed on the concrete floor. Rusted lamps hung from the ceiling, long dead. The flashlight beam cut through shadows, showing broken tables, torn maps, and twisted wires. The man remembered his father's voice. In the old days, soldiers built bunkers under the hills, full of weapons, radios, and secrets, but they left them to rot. Now he was standing in one. The children's wide eyes reflected the light. "What is this place?" one asked. "An old war room," the man said. "Not your war, ours." They moved deeper, finding a central chamber. On the wall hung faded posters. Words half vanished with time. "Stand together. Never surrender." The man touched the letters with his fingers. He had lived most of his life alone, but those words hit hard now. Rex sniffed around, pawing at an old locker. Inside were dusty cans, broken radios, and something wrapped in cloth. The man unwrapped it slowly, a long metal object, an old rifle. He tested the weight. Heavy, but usable. He placed it on the table beside his shotgun. The children whispered in their strange language, then the older one pulled something from their pocket. A small device, no bigger than a stone. It pulsed with soft blue light. "What's that?" the man asked. The child hesitated. "Mother gave it. She say, only use when no hope." The man studied it. The device looked alive, wires shifting like veins under skin. "What does it do?" "It call," the child whispered. "It send message to our people." The man frowned. "Then why not use it already?" The child's eyes darkened. "Because maybe they not come to save. Maybe they come to finish us." The words sank heavy in the bunker air. The man realized the children didn't even trust their own people anymore. Suddenly, a loud clang echoed through the halls. Metal on metal. The children gasped. The hunters had found the bunker. The man killed the flashlight. They stood in darkness, breath sharp and quick. Rex growled low, ready to strike. The sound of claws scraped against the steel door. Then silence. The man whispered, "They can't get in, too thick." But as soon as he said it, the sound returned. A deeper, heavier noise. A thud. 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 Not claws this time, but something like a battering ram. The children pressed close, whispering fast in their alien tongue. The device in the older child's hand began to glow brighter, as if responding to the hunter's presence. The man looked at it. "Turn it off," he hissed. "I cannot," the child whispered. "It awake." Blue light pulsed into the air, rising like waves. The old bunker walls shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. The hunters outside stopped their pounding, then the ground above trembled. The man ran to the exit hatch at the far end of the bunker. He forced it open and looked out. The night sky was alive. From the clouds above, a beam of light shot down, piercing the forest. It was not red like the hunter's eyes. It was cold, silver white, and it pulsed with power. The hunters froze, staring upward. Their red lights dimmed as if in fear. The children clutched each other. Their voices shook. Not mother, not friends. Wrong ship. The man's heart pounded. If it's not your people, then who is it? The ground shook again. The silver beam widened, blasting the forest with waves of energy. Trees bent, leaves ripped from branches. A shape began to descend through the clouds, massive, alien, alive with strange lights. The hunters turned away from the bunker and marched toward the beam. The man whispered, "What did you call here?" The device in the child's hands pulsed faster, brighter, as if answering. And then, from the sky, came a sound like 1,000 voices screaming in unison. The night shook with the scream from the sky. It was not a sound meant for human ears. It was layered, twisting like metal grinding against voices. The children covered their heads, crying out. Even Rex whined, tail low, ears flat. The man held the shotgun tight, staring at the light beam tearing down from the clouds. The shape above grew clearer, a massive ship, silver and black, bigger than any human plane. Strange symbols glowed along its hull, moving like living things. The hunters stood motionless, their red eyes dimmed. They seemed to wait for command. Then one by one they turned toward the ship, leaving the bunker door. The man's gut twisted. "They're not chasing us anymore," he whispered. "They've found something worse." The older child clutched the glowing device in their hand. It called them, not Mother's people. Other ones, bad ones. The ship descended lower, its shadow spread across the forest. Then the beam of light shifted, not random, not searching. It focused, straight toward the bunker. The man cursed under his breath. "They know we're here." The children trembled, one whispered, "They want us. Always us." The man looked around the bunker. Broken weapons, old crates, rusted machines. This was a graveyard of war. But maybe it could be their shield. He snapped open a locker. Inside were dusty grenades, old, but still solid. He pulled two out, shoving one into his jacket. He checked the rifle he had found earlier, loading it. With shaky hands, Rex growled, pacing. The dog's nose twitched. Danger was near. The man knelt by the children. His voice was sharp but steady. "Listen, if they come, we fight. No more running, understand?" The children looked at him with wide, uncertain eyes. No one had ever said those words to them before, not even their mother. Slowly, the older one nodded. Outside, the forest exploded with sound. The hunters marched in formation now, moving toward the ship like soldiers reporting to a master. And then, the ship's belly opened. A ramp extended, glowing with pale silver light. Figures walked out. Not machines this time, but beings. Tall, thin, with armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Their faces were hidden behind masks. Their movements slow, but powerful. The man felt a cold fear. These were not hunters. These were their makers. One of the children gasped. The overseers. The beings raised their hands. The hunters stopped moving as if waiting for orders. Then one overseer pointed toward the bunker. The hunters turned back. They were coming again. The man's chest tightened, but his voice stayed strong. "All right then," he muttered. "Let's see how you like being hunted." He motioned for Rex. The dog's eyes gleamed in the dim light, teeth bared. The hunters reached the bunker door. Metal claws scraped. They began to pry it open. The man pulled the pin from a grenade and rolled it through the crack. A second later, the world shook with fire. The blast threw dirt and sparks into the air. Pieces of metal clanged against the bunker walls. The hunters staggered. One fell in pieces, its glowing eye flickering out. The man fired the rifle. The shot cracked loud, the bullet smashing into another hunter's chest. It stumbled back, sparks flying. Rex leapt through the smoke, teeth sinking into exposed wires. The bunker became a battlefield. The children screamed, but did not run. Instead, the older one held the glowing device tighter. It pulsed stronger, faster, like it wanted to join the fight. The younger child grabbed a broken pipe from the floor, holding it like a weapon. The man blasted another hunter, reloading fast, sweat pouring down his face. "Come on," he shouted, voice rough. "You wanted us, here we are." For the first time, the hunters looked less like predators and more like prey. But the overseers did not move. They stood at the edge of the forest, watching, waiting. The man knew it was a game for them. The hunters were tools. The overseers wanted to see if their prey would break or fight. The battle raged. Grenades thundered, bullets cracked, Rex tore into metal limbs. The children's cries turned into fierce shouts as they swung their makeshift weapons. The bunker shook with chaos. Then, in the middle of the fight, one hunter broke through. It moved faster than the rest, claws slashing. The man turned too late. The older child screamed as the claws wrapped around them. The hunter lifted them into the air, holding them tight. The device in the child's hand glowed blindingly bright, sending a wave of blue light across the bunker. The hunter staggered, but did not let go. It turned and began to retreat, dragging the child toward the overseer's ship. "No." The man roared. He fired, hitting the hunter again and again, but its grip did not break. Rex leapt but was swatted aside, yelping in pain. The younger child sobbed, clutching the man's arm. "They take them! They take them!" The man's chest burned with fury. He had promised not to leave them behind. He would not break that promise. He threw down the rifle, grabbed his shotgun, and charged after the retreating hunter. His voice thundered through the night. "You're not taking them." But the hunter moved fast, vanishing into the silver beam. The overseers watched calmly, their masks gleaming. The ramp of the ship began to close. The man ran harder, Rex limping but following. His lungs burned, his legs screamed, but he did not stop. The ramp was almost shut when he leapt forward, and then darkness swallowed him. Darkness closed around the man as the ship's ramp sealed shut. The air inside was cold and heavy, carrying a strange metallic smell. He landed hard on the floor, shotgun still in his grip. Rex tumbled beside him, panting, limping from the fight. Above them, pale lights flickered along the walls, glowing like veins inside a giant creature. The ship felt alive. The metal pulsed under the man's boots as if it were breathing. He rose quickly, eyes searching. Ahead, the hunter dragged the older child through a long corridor. The child struggled, kicking and shouting, the glowing device still clutched in their hand. Their cries echoed down the alien hall. "Hold on," the man shouted. His voice bounced, off the walls swallowed by the ship. The hunter did not turn. It carried the child deeper, obeying the overseer's command. The man sprinted, Rex running at his side despite the limp. Every step echoed like thunder in the silent halls. He fired. His shotgun. The blast tore through the corridor, sparks flying from the hunter's back. The machine staggered but kept moving. Then the corridor split. The hunter vanished through a door that sealed shut behind it. The man cursed under his breath. He slammed his fist against the wall. The metal rippled under his touch like liquid, then hardened again. The ship was no simple machine. It was something stranger. Rex growled low, nose pressed to the floor. He sniffed, then barked once, pulling toward another corridor. The man followed, trusting the dog's instincts. They moved deeper into the ship. The air grew colder, the lights dimmer. Strange whispers echoed through the walls, not voices, but sounds like language twisted into static. Finally, they reached a vast chamber. The man froze. Rows of cages stretched across the floor. Inside were dozens of small figures. Some looked like the alien children. Others were stranger, thin bodies, glowing eyes, different colors of skin. All of them were young. All of them were captives. The man's heart sank. This ship was not here to hunt only 2 children. It had hunted many. The captives pressed against the bars, eyes wide with fear and hope. They stared at the man, whispering in voices he could not understand. Rex barked, teeth bared. The sound echoed through the chamber. From the shadows above, something stirred. A voice rolled through the room. Deep, cold, not from a throat but from everywhere at once. "You do not belong here, human." The man raised his shotgun, turning in a slow circle. "Where's the child?" he demanded. The voice ignored the question. "You protect what is weak. Foolish. Your kind is fragile. You should not fight our design." Then, from the far side of the chamber, a shape emerged. The overseer. It was taller than any man, its body clad in silver armor that shimmered with shifting patterns. Its face was hidden behind a smooth mask, a single dark slit where eyes should be. In its hand, it carried a staff that glowed with pale energy. The overseer stepped closer, the floor pulsing beneath each footfall. The young are not meant to survive. They are tools, bait, tests. Only the strong endure. The man's jaw clenched. They're children, not tools. The overseer tilted its head. "Strange. Your species is not strong, yet you resist. You fight. Why?" The man lifted, his shotgun. "Because they need me." The overseer's mask gleamed in the pale light. "Then you will break with them." It raised the staff. The cages glowed, the children inside crying out. Energy crackled through the chamber. The man fired. The shotgun blast hit the overseer's chest. Sparks exploded, the armor denting, but the figure did not fall. Rex charged, teeth snapping at the staff. The overseer swung, throwing the dog across the floor. Rex yelped but rose again, growling through the pain. The man grabbed a broken metal rod from the ground. He swung it hard, striking the overseer's mask. The blow rang like a bell, sending a sharp crack through the air. The overseer staggered. The mask split slightly, revealing a glimpse beneath. Pale skin, veins glowing faint blue. Not a machine. Something alive. The man's eyes narrowed. "So you bleed?" The overseer's voice darkened. "And so will you." It struck with the staff. Energy roared through the air, slamming into the man. He flew back, crashing against the cages. The alien children inside reached out, trying to pull him up. He staggered to his feet, chest burning, but his grip on the shotgun never loosened. Then he saw it. The older child. The one with the beacon. They were in a cage on the far side, still holding the glowing device. Their eyes locked with his. "Help!" the child cried. The overseer turned its head. "That one is mine." The man wiped blood from his mouth. His voice was raw, but unshaken. "You'll have to kill me first." The overseer raised the staff again, energy gathering in a blinding glow. Rex growled, crouched low, ready to leap. The chamber filled with light, shadows stretching like claws, and then the beacon in the child's hand pulsed violently, sending a wave of blue energy through the ship. The cages shook, the walls trembled, and alarms screamed. The overseer turned sharply, mask flickering with light. "What have you done?" The man's eyes widened. The beacon was no longer just calling. It was waking something. The beacon's pulse shook the ship like a heartbeat gone mad. Blue light spread through the walls, crackling across the cages. Sparks flew. Alarms screamed, and the metal floor rippled under their feet as if alive. The overseer staggered, its mask flickering. "No, the beacon must be silenced." The man rose, chest aching, shotgun in his hands. He looked at the child, clutching the glowing device. "Don't let go," he shouted. The overseer raised its staff, swinging it down. A blast of pale energy shot toward the child's cage, but Rex leapt first. The dog crashed into the overseer's arm, jaws locking, onto the staff. Energy sparked around him, burning his fur, but Rex did not release. His growl filled the chamber, raw and furious. The man charged, swinging the shotgun like a hammer. The blow cracked across the overseer's mask, shattering it fully. Beneath the mask was a face, pale, gaunt, with eyes glowing faint blue. Not machine, not human, but something caught in between. Veins of light ran across its skin like wires. The overseer hissed, voice broken and furious. "You cannot protect them all." The man spat blood. "Watch me." He fired point blank. The blast tore through the overseer's chest, throwing it backward into the cages. Sparks burst, children screamed, and the ship's alarms rose higher. The beacon pulsed again, stronger, sending a shockwave through the chamber. The locks on some cages snapped open. Small figures stumbled out, weak but free. Their eyes shone with fear and hope. "Go!" the man shouted. "Run!" The children hesitated, then obeyed, rushing toward the open corridors. The overseer staggered up, smoke rising from its chest wound. It raised the staff again. Weak things do not escape, but this time it was not just the man standing in its way. The freed alien children, dozens of them, turned together. Their eyes glowed. They raised their small hands. Energy flickered between them, weaving into a single blue wave. The overseer swung its staff, but the children's light struck first. The blast hit the overseer like a storm, smashing it against the far wall. The mask shattered, the armor cracked, and the staff snapped in two. The overseer roared, its voice echoing like thunder, but its power was broken. The man looked at the older child, still clutching the beacon. "Now shut it down." The child's face was pale with fear, but their hands were steady. They pressed the device against the floor. The light spread through the ship, brighter, louder, until the metal itself began to tear. The overseer screamed, "You will destroy us all." The man grinned through blood and sweat. "Good." He grabbed Rex, pulled the children close, and shouted, "Hold on." The beacon released its final pulse. The ship erupted. The walls split apart with a shriek of tearing metal. Flames roared. Light blinded the chamber. The floor collapsed, and the man felt himself falling into night and smoke. When he woke, the world was quiet. The man lay in the dirt, stars above him. The ship was gone. Nothing left but burning wreckage scattered across the forest. Smoke curled into the night sky. Beside him, Rex stirred, covered in ash, but alive. The dog whined softly and licked his hand. The man smiled weakly, stroking his loyal companion. "Good boy, you did it." Then he heard voices. Small, shaky voices. The children. Not just the two he had found, but dozens more. They crawled out of the wreck, some limping, some helping each other. Their glowing eyes turned to the man. He pushed himself up, every muscle screaming in pain. He looked at them, frightened, lost, but alive. The older child, the one with the beacon, stepped forward. Their hands shook, but their voice was steady. "You saved us. No one ever saved us before." The man wiped blood from his face. "You're not tools, you're not bait. You're children. And children deserve to live." The younger child tugged at his sleeve. "Mother said we weak, but you stay. You fight. Why?" The man looked at Rex, then at the small faces around him. He thought of the loneliness of his cabin, the silence of his life before this night, and he answered simply, "Because someone had to." The children stared at him. Then slowly, one by one, they moved closer. They stood beside him, around him, not as prisoners but as family. The man rose, shotgun in one hand, Rex by his side. The fire from the wreck burned behind them, lighting the night sky. The fight was not over. Somewhere out there, more overseers waited. More hunters would come. But he was not afraid. Not anymore. Because now he was not alone. The forest wind whispered through the burning wreck. The stars shone brighter than ever. A man, a dog, and a group of alien children stood together against the dark. And in that moment, humanity had never looked stronger.